confidence is not about knowing everything. It's about believing in yourself enough to take the next step, even when the outcome is uncertain. Talent can open doors, but confidence gives you the courage to walk through them. Throughout history, it is not always the most talented who succeed, but those who dared to try, to speak, to act, and to persist. This audiobook is about understanding why confidence matters more than talent, how you can build it, and why it will always give you the edge in life. We live in a world that glorifies talent. From the moment we are children, we are told that only the gifted rise to greatness. We hear stories of prodigies who can play instruments at the age of 5, athletes who seem born to win, or geniuses who solve problems without effort. This creates an illusion that talent alone is enough. But here's the truth: talent, by itself, is never enough. Talent is potential, not power. It is like a seed, full of possibility, but useless unless planted, watered, and nurtured. Without action, without courage, without consistency, talent fades into the background. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone who was naturally gifted in school, but never applied themselves? They could have been brilliant, but they were afraid to raise their hand, afraid to make mistakes, afraid to step forward. And then you see another student, not as naturally skilled, but bold enough to try, to participate, to push forward. Who grows faster? Who gets noticed? Who succeeds in the long run? It's the one with confidence. Talent may help you get started, but it's confidence that carries you across the finish line. Let's imagine two people at the starting line of opportunity. The first has immense talent, but little belief in themselves. They hesitate. They overthink. They wait for perfection before they act. The second person is less talented, but they carry confidence. They trust themselves enough to take the first step, even when unsure. They stumble, yes, but they keep moving. And each stumble becomes growth. Each effort becomes progress. Who do you think wins over time? Always the confident one. Confidence breathes life into talent. It turns silent skill into visible action. Without it, talent remains invisible, hidden in the shadows. The illusion of talent is dangerous because it convinces that skill alone determines success. We admire the naturally gifted and assume they will always be ahead. But life does not work that way. Talent might open doors, but if you do not have the confidence to walk through them, those doors close quickly. Here's another truth: the world doesn't reward potential. It rewards action. The confident individual, even with less ability, shows up, speaks up, and tries again and again until progress is made. And in the end, consistent progress beats natural ability every time. Think of those who become leaders, innovators, creators. Were they always the most talented in the room? No. But they had something better: the courage to believe in themselves, to take risks, to put themselves forward. That confidence carried them where talent alone could not. So, when you find yourself admiring someone else's gifts, pause and remember talent is not the final word. It is only the beginning. Confidence is the true advantage. The world has seen countless talented people remain unnoticed, unheard, and unfulfilled because they lacked the courage to act. But the world always remembers the confident ones who dared to step out, even when their talent was not the strongest. You might not feel like the most skilled. You might compare yourself to those who seem naturally better. But don't let that illusion deceive you. What will set you apart is not just what you can do, but your willingness to show it, to stand tall, and to take the leap. Talent without confidence is a promise never fulfilled. Confidence without talent still creates opportunities, still builds growth, still leads to success. But confidence combined with even a little talent, that becomes unstoppable. Remember this: it's not the most talented who win. It's the most confident. Confidence begins with something invisible, something that cannot be touched, but can be deeply felt. Belief. Belief is the seed from which confidence grows. It is not arrogance, and it is not blind pride. It is a quiet, steady conviction that whispers within you, I am capable. I may not have all the answers right now, but I have what it takes to learn, to try, and to endure. Belief is often underestimated. People think success is about talent, luck, or opportunity. Yet the truth is, without belief, none of those matter. You could have extraordinary skills, but if you do not believe you are worthy of using them, you will hesitate, hold back, and let opportunities slip away. Meanwhile, someone less talented, but fueled by belief, will step forward boldly and claim the very chances you allowed to pass by. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone give a presentation, share an idea, or step into a role with confidence, even when you knew others in the room were more knowledgeable or skilled? And yet, the belief in themselves made others pay attention. Belief has an energy. It radiates. It commands respect, not through force, but through quiet certainty. When you carry belief within you, it shows. It shows in your voice, in the way you stand, in the way you shake someone's hand. It's not about perfection. It's about presence. You don't need to be flawless to be confident. You only need to believe that your imperfections do not define you, that they are part of your journey, not a barrier to your progress. Belief is also contagious. When you believe in yourself, you give permission for others to believe in you too. Imagine two people applying for the same opportunity. One lists their talents and achievements, but delivers them with hesitation, as if questioning their own worth. The other may have fewer accolades, yet they speak with calm assurance. I can handle this. I am ready. Who would you trust more? Who would you give the opportunity to? More often than not, it is the second person. Confidence built on belief becomes a foundation no storm can easily shake. Yes, challenges will come. Yes, there will be failures and rejections. But belief acts as your anchor. It reminds you, this setback does not define me. I can rise again. That quiet voice of belief, when nurtured, is stronger than the loudest doubts. Consider this. Every great accomplishment in history began not with talent on display, but with belief. Someone, somewhere, decided that their dream was possible, even when no one else could see it. That belief gave them the courage to take the first step. And from that first step came progress, growth, and eventually mastery. Belief is the bridge between the unseen and the achieved. Talent sits in the background until belief gives it a stage. Fear holds us back until belief lights the path forward. The world does not reward the most gifted alone. It rewards those who believe in their gifts enough to share them. So ask yourself, do you truly believe in your own potential? Do you trust yourself enough to act, even when you're unsure? Because that is where confidence is born. Not in knowing everything, not in having perfect skill, but in holding a steady conviction that says, I am enough to begin, and I will become more as I continue. Belief is silent, but it is powerful. It does not need to shout. It simply needs to live inside you, strong and steady, guiding your steps. When you cultivate this belief, confidence will naturally follow. And once confidence takes root, there is little in this world that can stand in your way. Confidence begins with something invisible, something that cannot be touched, but can be deeply felt. Belief. Belief is the seed from which confidence grows. It is not arrogance, and it is not blind pride. It is a quiet, steady conviction that whispers within you, I am capable. I may not have all the answers right now, but I have what it takes to learn, to try, and to endure. Belief is often underestimated. People think success is about talent, luck, or opportunity. Yet the truth is, without belief, none of those matter. You could have extraordinary skills, but if you do not believe you are worthy of using them, you will hesitate, hold back, and let opportunities slip away. Meanwhile, someone less talented, but fueled by belief, will step forward boldly and claim the very chances you allowed to pass by. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone give a presentation, share an idea, or step into a role with confidence, even when you knew others in the room were more knowledgeable or skilled, and yet their belief in themselves made others pay attention? Belief has an energy. It radiates. It commands respect, not through force, but through quiet certainty. When you carry belief within you, it shows. It shows in your voice, in the way you stand, in the way you shake someone's hand. It's not about perfection. It's about presence. You don't need to be flawless to be confident. You only need to believe that your imperfections do not define you, that they are part of your journey, not a barrier to your progress. Belief is also contagious. When you believe in yourself, you give permission for others to believe in you too. Imagine two people applying for the same opportunity. One lists their talents and achievements, but delivers them with hesitation, as if questioning their own worth. The other may have fewer accolades, yet they speak with calm assurance. I can handle this. I am ready. Who would you trust more? Who would you give the opportunity to? More often than not, it is the second person. Confidence built on belief becomes a foundation no storm can easily shake. Yes, challenges will come. Yes, there will be failures and rejections. But belief acts as your anchor. It reminds you, this setback does not define me. I can rise again. I can try once more. That quiet voice of belief, when nurtured, is stronger than the loudest doubts. Consider this. Every great accomplishment in history began not with talent on display, but with belief. Somewhere decided that their dream was possible, even when no one else could see it. That belief gave them the courage to take the first step. And from that first step came progress, growth, and eventually mastery. Belief is the bridge between the unseen and the achieved. Talent sits in the background until belief gives it a stage. Fear holds us back until belief lights the path forward. The world does not reward the most gifted alone. It rewards those who believe in their gifts enough to share them. So ask yourself, do you truly believe in your own potential? Do you trust yourself enough to act, even when you're unsure? Because that is where confidence is born. Not in knowing everything, not in having perfect skill, but in holding a steady conviction that says, I am enough to begin, and I will become more as I continue. Belief is silent, but it is powerful. It does not need to shout. It simply needs to live inside you, strong and steady, guiding your steps. When you cultivate this belief, confidence will naturally follow. And once confidence takes root, there is little in this world that can stand in your way. Failure is one of the greatest teachers in life, yet it is also the most feared. Many people, especially those who rely only on talent, see failure as a final judgment, a sign that they are not good enough, not worthy, not capable. They take one fall, and they never rise again. But confidence approaches failure differently. Confidence does not see failure as the end. It sees failure as feedback. Talent may help you succeed quickly, but confidence ensures you survive when success doesn't come right away. And that makes all the difference. Think of this: every invention, every breakthrough, every great achievement was born out of countless failures. The confident mind accepts this as part of the journey. When others stop at rejection, confidence says, "This is not the end. This is a step forward." Confidence allows you to absorb the sting of defeat without letting it define you. Imagine two athletes, one naturally talented but fragile in spirit, and another less skilled, but full of determination. The first athlete loses a match and walks away, doubting their worth. The second athlete loses, but instead of quitting, studies the mistakes, trains harder, and comes back stronger. Who do you think grows? Who eventually wins more matches? Not the one with greater talent, but the one with greater resilience, powered by confidence. The truth is, resilience is not about never falling. It's about always rising. And confidence is the inner voice that says, "Get up. You are stronger than this. Try again." Failures are like stepping stones across a river. Each stone may feel unstable. Some may even sink beneath your feet. But as long as you keep moving forward, you eventually reach the other side. The only way to fail permanently is to stop stepping. Confidence keeps your feet moving. Let's be honest, failure hurts. It bruises the ego, shakes our certainty, and makes us question ourselves. But confidence does not deny the pain. Instead, it transforms it. Where talent may whisper, "Maybe you're not good enough," confidence answers firmly, "This is how you get better." Consider the story of someone who launches a small business. The first attempt fails. The second attempt struggles. The talented entrepreneur might feel defeated, believing they are not cut out for business. But the confident one reframes the story. "I didn't fail. I learned what doesn't work. Now I'm closer to finding what does." Over time, this resilience builds wisdom, strength, and eventually, success. Confidence makes you resilient because it shifts your relationship with failure. Instead of being afraid of falling, you become curious about what you will discover when you do. Each setback becomes a teacher. Each mistake becomes a lesson. Each rejection becomes redirection towards something better. Here is the key. Talent fears failure because it threatens the illusion of perfection. Confidence embraces failure because it fuels growth. That is why confident people appear unstoppable. They may stumble 10 times, fall 100 times, but they rise 101. And every time they rise, they carry with them a new layer of strength, a deeper understanding, and a stronger belief in themselves. This is how mountains are climbed, books are written, careers are built, and dreams are realized. Not through flawless talent, but through resilient confidence. So, when failure comes knocking, and it always does, remember this: it is not the end of the story. It is simply a chapter. Confidence turns the page. Confidence keeps the story alive. The talented may stop after one failure, but the confident keep writing, keep building, keep moving. That is why confidence beats talent every time. Talent can remain silent. Confidence speaks up. In every setting, a classroom, a workplace, a business meeting, or even among friends, there are always people with brilliant ideas locked inside their minds. They hesitate. They overthink. They fear rejection, criticism, or being wrong. and so their talent stays hidden in the shadows. A warm, on the other hand, there are those who might not have the most refined ideas, but they dare to raise their hand, share their thoughts, and speak with conviction. And more often than not, these are the voices that move conversations forward, win opportunities, and earn recognition. The world does not reward silent brilliance. It rewards the courage to speak. Think about it. How many times in your life have you witnessed someone less skilled but more confident take the spotlight? They weren't the smartest in the room, but they were the boldest. Their words carried weight, not because they were perfect, but because they were delivered with certainty. This is the quiet truth of life. People listen to those who believe in their own message. Confidence is not about being loud or forceful. It is about presence. It's about saying, "Here I am, and what I have to share matters." It's not arrogance. It's assurance. That assurance makes people lean in. It makes them pay attention. Now imagine 2 job interviews. Candidate 1 is highly qualified, with years of experience, but speaks timidly. Second, guesses their own answers, and leaves the impression of uncertainty. Candidate 2 has fewer credentials, but speaks clearly, looks the interviewer in the eye, and expresses belief in their ability to learn and contribute. Who do you think gets hired? More often than not, it's candidate 2. Why? Because confidence creates trust. People may admire talent, but they rely on confidence. History is full of inventions, movements, and breakthroughs were not born from raw genius alone, but from the courage of someone who dared to share their idea. Confidence is the spark that turns a thought into a voice, and a voice into action. This is why developing the courage to speak matters. If you have a talent, a skill, a perspective, a solution, and you keep it locked inside because of fear, the world loses something valuable. You owe it not only to yourself, but to others to find your voice. The beauty of confidence is that it multiplies. The first time you speak up, it may be shaky. Your voice may tremble. Your words may come out imperfectly, but the act of speaking creates momentum. Each time you dare to express yourself, your confidence grows. Slowly, you realize that people respect authenticity more than perfection. They connect with your conviction more than your flawless wording. Confidence is magnetic. It draws people toward you. In conversations, in negotiations, in leadership, it is often the confident communicator who becomes the decision maker. Not because they always know more, but because they believe in their words enough to stand behind them. There is a saying, "The one who speaks shapes the world," and it's true. From classrooms to boardrooms, from stages to dinner tables, the person who finds their voice shapes the outcome. Ask yourself, how many opportunities have passed you by because you stayed silent? How many times did you have the answer, the idea, the solution, but let fear keep it inside? The cost of silence is invisibility, and invisibility never leads to growth. Confidence ensures your ideas are heard. It ensures that when people are looking for solutions, they think of you. It ensures that your presence leaves an imprint. So train your voice. Practice expressing yourself. Don't wait for the perfect words. Speak with the words you have, and let your conviction carry them. Over time, the act of speaking up will sharpen your clarity and strengthen your presence. Remember this: talent may think in silence, but confidence speaks, and the world only hears those who dare to speak. Confidence is often seen as something separate from talent, but in reality, it is the very force that allows talent to grow. Many people mistakenly believe that skill comes first and confidence follows. They think you must first become exceptional at something before you can stand tall and believe in yourself. But the truth is the opposite. Confidence comes first. Confidence is the spark that lights the fire of talent, the push that gets you started, the reason you keep practicing, and the shield that protects you when setbacks appear. Without confidence, talent lies dormant, like a seed hidden in dry soil. Imagine a young musician who has some natural gift. Their fingers can find melodies with ease, but they hesitate to play in front of others. Their talent remains locked in silence because fear whispers louder than their ability. Now picture another person with average skill but immense confidence. They play boldly, even with mistakes. They show up to every performance opportunity. With every attempt, they improve a little more, while the talented but hesitant musician remains stuck. Over time, the confident one not only grows faster, but surpasses the one who had more natural ability. That is the power of confidence. It creates the space where talent can flourish. Every master you admire today was once a beginner. They were not born with polished skills. They had a seed of potential. Yes, but what watered that seed was confidence. The decision to keep practicing, to keep trying, to keep showing up. Confidence is not about being flawless. It is about trusting that effort leads to growth. When you have confidence, you give yourself permission to stumble, to be imperfect, and to improve along the way. Talent does not create mastery. Repetition does. And repetition only comes when confidence drives you forward again and again. Think of the painter who dares to put brush to canvas every day, even when the strokes don't look like art. Think of the speaker who dares to step onto the stage, even when their hands are trembling. Think of the athlete who trains daily, believing that sweat and sacrifice will sharpen their skill. All of them have one thing in common: confidence. They trust that practice will make them better, even when the progress feels invisible. Confidence says, I may not be great yet, but I can become great if I keep going. Confidence is also what separates dreamers from doers. Many people carry unexpressed talents within them, waiting for the day when they feel ready, when they feel perfect, when every condition is just right. That day rarely comes. The confident do not wait. They begin. And in the process of beginning, their raw effort is shaped into skill. Confidence builds talent because it pushes you into the arena of action, where learning happens. Without it, even the brightest spark fades away in hesitation. Perhaps the most powerful thing about confidence is that it compounds. The more you act with courage, the more skilled you become. The more skilled you become, the more your confidence grows. This creates a cycle of growth, where each step fuels the next. At first, your confidence may seem larger than your ability. You may feel like an imposter, stepping into roles you don't yet deserve. But as long as you keep acting, your talent will rise to meet your belief. In the end, it is not talent that creates confidence. It is confidence that creates talent. It is the decision to show up every day, to risk mistakes, to keep practicing when no one is watching. It is the willingness to trust the process, even when progress feels slow. Talent is only potential. It is confidence that turns potential into reality. And with time, the one who believes enough to keep building will always outshine the one who was gifted but afraid to begin. Leadership is not reserved for the most talented individual in the room. It does not belong exclusively to the one with the highest IQ, the sharpest skills, or the greatest list of accomplishments. Leadership belongs to the one who has the courage to step forward, to carry responsibility, and to inspire trust in others. And the fuel for that courage is confidence. People are not naturally drawn to talent. They are drawn to certainty. Imagine you are in a room filled with capable, intelligent individuals. Everyone has ideas. Everyone has strengths. But silence fills the space when it comes to making decisions. Then, one person speaks with clarity and conviction. They may not be the most knowledgeable, but their voice rings with confidence. In that moment, the room begins to follow them. Why? Because people crave direction, and confidence provides it. Confidence communicates something vital. I will find the way, even if the path is not yet clear. That simple assurance builds trust. When others see you believe in yourself, they begin to believe in you too. This is why leaders are often not the most talented, but the most confident. They are willing to stand in uncertainty and still move forward, while others hesitate. Think about any group project you've been a part of, in school, at work, or in life. Very often, the leader is not the person with the deepest skill set, but the one who says, "Let's begin here. Let's try this approach. Let's move." Their confidence creates momentum, and once momentum begins, the group gains direction, clarity, and focus. Talent may admire from the sidelines, but confidence steps onto the field. Confidence also shapes the way leaders handle setbacks. Talent without confidence tends to collapse when things go wrong. But confidence, even in the face of mistakes, reassures others that progress is still possible. A confident leader can stand before their team after a failure and say, "We will adjust, we will learn, and we will try again." That resilience is far more powerful than pure ability, because it gives people hope. Hope keeps teams moving forward. Consider history. Countless great leaders were not the most skilled or brilliant of their time. Many were ordinary men and women with extraordinary confidence. They were individuals who dared to stand up when others stayed seated. Their talent may have been modest, but their belief in their vision was unshakable. And people follow vision. They follow belief. They follow confidence. This is also true in everyday life. A confident parent inspires children to feel safe and capable. A confident teacher encourages students to push past their doubts. A confident manager lifts an entire team beyond their limitations. Leadership is not about perfection. It is about presence. Confidence gives you presence. That unspoken message that says, "I am steady, I am prepared, and I will lead us through this." The most beautiful thing about confidence as a foundation for leadership is that it is learnable. Talent may be something you're born with, but confidence can be built step by step. Every time you take responsibility, every time you raise your voice with conviction, every time you choose courage over hesitation, you strengthen the muscle of confidence. And the stronger that muscle becomes, the more naturally leadership flows from you. Confidence does not promise that you will always be right. What it does promise is that you will always be willing to act, willing to decide, willing to take the weight of uncertainty and carry it forward. That willingness is what inspires trust, and trust is the true foundation of leadership. When you embrace confidence, you do more than lead yourself. You create the path for others. And once people see your certainty, they will walk that path with you. Because in the end, it is not talent that people follow. It is confidence. It is the unshakable presence that says, "We will find a way forward together." The greatest barrier between people and their dreams is not usually a lack of skill, but a lack of courage to begin. Starting is often the hardest part. We imagine all the things that could go wrong, the obstacles that might appear, the judgment we may face, and the possibility of failure. The mind paints these fears in vivid colors, and before we know it, hesitation becomes our constant companion. We wait for the right time, the perfect plan, or the flawless set of conditions. But here is the truth: perfection never arrives. Waiting only keeps us in place, while life moves forward without us. Confidence is the antidote to hesitation. It does not remove uncertainty, but it whispers a simple truth: start anyway. Confidence pushes you to act, while others remain stuck in preparation. It reminds you that growth comes not from waiting, but from moving. Every great journey, every invention, Every success story began not with certainty, but with courage. Those who stepped forward with confidence, even when they were unsure, discovered opportunities that the hesitant never found. Think of a person standing at the edge of a diving board for the first time. The water looks deep. The height feels terrifying, and their heart races with doubt. A talented swimmer might still freeze there, unable to jump because the fear of falling overwhelms them. Meanwhile, another person, not as skilled, not as prepared, takes a breath, gathers courage, and leaps. The moment they hit the water, they gain experience that the hesitant never will. Confidence is the force that gets you off the board and into the water of life. Starting something new does not require mastery. It requires the belief that you will figure it out along the way. Confidence gives you permission to be imperfect in the beginning, and knowing that improvement will come through experience. Talent waits until it feels ready. Confidence says, "I'll grow as I go." And that mindset creates momentum, which is far more powerful than talent alone. Every time you begin, no matter how small the step, you build strength. Starting a conversation, applying for a position, beginning a workout routine, or sharing your ideas publicly. Each action teaches you something new. The more you start, the easier it becomes to keep starting again. Confidence is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it grows. Soon, the fear of beginning fades, replaced by the excitement of possibility. What holds most people back is the belief that failure at the start is a sign they should stop. But failure at the beginning is not failure at all. It is progress. Every mistake carries information. Every stumble gives direction. Confidence reframes failure, showing you that it is not a verdict, but a lesson. Those who lack confidence see an early setback as the end. Those who have confidence see it as the first step toward mastery. The truth is, the first step is always the most important. It may also be the most uncomfortable. But once you take it, the path becomes clearer. Starting generates momentum, and momentum makes continuation easier. Confidence is what allows you to push past the paralysis of overthinking and step into motion. And once you are in motion, you are already ahead of most people, no matter their talent. The courage to begin is not about eliminating fear. It is about walking with it, hand in hand, and moving forward anyway. Confidence does not promise immediate success, but it guarantees progress. And with progress comes growth. With growth comes strength. And with strength comes the ability to achieve far more than you once imagined. In the end, beginnings are what shape lives. The projects you dare to start, the conversations you choose to have, the risks you are bold enough to take. These are the turning points that define your future. Talent may dream about them, but confidence lives them. Confidence is the force that transforms someday into today. It is the quiet courage that takes the leap, starts the journey, and unlocks the doors that talent alone could never open. Confidence breeds consistency, and consistency is the force that quietly shapes greatness. Many people assume that success comes from rare moments of brilliance, sudden strokes of genius, or extraordinary gifts. But if you look closer, you'll see the truth. It is the small, repeated actions taken day after day that create extraordinary outcomes. Talent may give you a shining moment, but consistency keeps you in the game long enough to transform those moments into mastery. Think about the difference between a sprinter and a marathon runner. A sprinter might burst out of the gates with incredible power, dazzling everyone with speed for a short distance. But it is the marathon runner, steady and determined, who finishes the long race. In life, talent often looks like the sprinter. It bursts brightly, but without consistency, it fades quickly. Confidence, however, gives you the mindset of the marathon runner, the belief that you can keep going step by step until you reach the finish line. Consistency requires trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in the process. Trust that effort today will lead to results tomorrow. And that trust comes from confidence. Without it, you will doubt every step, stop at the first obstacle, and give up before the rewards arrive. But when you are confident, you show up even when progress feels invisible. You practice when no one is watching. You prepare when others rest. And you continue when the talented decide it's too hard to persist. Think of a musician who practices their instrument daily. They may not have been born with exceptional talent, but their steady practice sharpens every note, every chord, every performance. Over time, their confidence to keep showing up builds a skill so refined that even naturally gifted players who lack discipline cannot match it. The world applauds talent, but it rewards consistency. The same is true in every area of life. The student who reviews their notes for 30 minutes a day will outperform the naturally intelligent one who only studies when exams arrive. The athlete who trains regularly, even without dramatic progress at first, will eventually surpass the one who relies only on raw ability. The entrepreneur who steadily takes small steps toward building a business, refining it daily, will outlast the one who waits for a perfect idea or a sudden breakthrough. Confidence is the anchor that holds you steady when results are delayed. It whispers, "Keep going. You are moving forward, even if you can't see it yet." That steady belief prevents you from quitting when the journey feels slow. Talent wants quick wins, but confidence embraces the long road. There will be days when motivation fades, when the excitement of the beginning wears off. That is when confidence becomes your greatest ally. Confidence is not about feeling inspired every moment. It is about trusting yourself enough to keep showing up, even in silence, even in boredom, even in difficulty. And it is this unshakable consistency that builds greatness brick by brick. Over time, consistency creates something talent alone never could: reliability. People trust the consistent. Employers, friends, partners, and even society itself lean on those who deliver, who show up, who endure. You become dependable, and dependability is more valuable than flashes of brilliance. Confidence is what allows you to persist long enough to experience the compound effect of your actions. A little effort daily may seem small, but over months and years, it compounds into mastery. Just as drops of water carve valleys into stone, your consistent efforts, fueled by confidence, shape your destiny. So remember this: it is not the one who shines briefly that succeeds, but the one who endures steadily. Talent may light the spark, but confidence keeps the flame alive through wind, storm, and darkness. And in the end, it is the consistent who rise above all, because they simply refuse to stop moving forward. Fear is one of the most natural human emotions. It whispers to us in moments of change. It tightens our chest when we stand before a crowd, and it clouds our judgment when opportunities present themselves. Most people view fear as a stop sign, a signal that they should turn back, retreat, and remain where it feels safe. But safety rarely leads to growth. Those who rely only on talent often fall into this trap. Their gift may carry them for a while, but when fear arises, whether it's fear of failure, fear of rejection, or fear of looking foolish, their talent goes unused, hidden away in the shadows. Confidence, however, interprets fear differently. It sees fear not as a wall, but as a doorway. Confidence does not mean the absence of fear. It means choosing to act in spite of it. It acknowledges the trembling hands, the racing heartbeat, the uncertainty of outcomes, and still says, "I will move forward." This shift in perspective changes everything. Where talent hides, confidence steps forward. Where fear freezes, confidence unlocks momentum. Think about every breakthrough moment in your life. The first time you spoke up in class. The first time you raised your hand for an opportunity. The first time you took on a challenge that felt bigger than you. Those moments were not free of fear. They were defined by it. What made them powerful was your decision to walk the fear instead of away from it. That is the true essence of confidence. Not eliminating fear, but transforming it into fuel. Consider the story of someone standing at the edge of a stage, about to deliver a speech. Their stomach twists, their throat dries up, and their mind fills with doubts. Talent alone cannot push them forward in that moment. Talent might even magnify the fear, whispering, "What if I'm not good enough?" Confidence, on the other hand, gently reassures, "I may feel nervous, but I can still speak. My message matters more than my fear." With that thought, they step forward. The trembling voice becomes stronger with each word. The doubts dissolve, and what remains is growth. Confidence has turned fear into power. This pattern repeats in every area of life, in careers, relationships, business, or personal goals. Fear shows up like an uninvited guest. Talent may convince you to wait until conditions are perfect. Confidence convinces you to start anyway, and it is always the act of starting, not waiting, that leads to success. Every great achievement, from launching a new venture to chasing a dream, begins with moving through fear, not around it. It's important to remember that fear never truly disappears. Even the most successful individuals feel it before every bold move. The difference is that confident people do not wait for fear to vanish. They learn to carry it with them, using its energy as momentum, rather than allowing it to become an anchor. They realize that fear is simply a signal that they are stepping outside their comfort zone, and growth lives outside that boundary. Confidence allows you to reinterpret the meaning of fear. Instead of thinking, "I'm scared, therefore I should stop," you begin to think, "I'm scared, which means I'm growing." That reframe is life-changing. Suddenly, the discomfort becomes a sign that you're on the right path, that you're stretching into new territory, and that something valuable lies on the other side. When you live this way, fear no longer dictates your choices. It becomes a companion that reminds you you're alive, that you're trying, that you're pushing for more. And every time you move forward despite fear, your confidence grows stronger. Each small victory reinforces the truth. You are capable of handling far more than you thought. Fear will always be there, but confidence makes sure it doesn't control you. Confidence transforms fear into courage, courage into action, and action into results. And once you've experienced the growth that comes from facing fear head on, you'll never want to go back to hiding behind talent or waiting for perfect conditions. You'll know that the very presence of fear is proof that you're moving toward something meaningful. And that confidence is the force carrying you through it. Confidence is the quality that makes a person unstoppable. It is a force that refuses to bow to limitations, the mindset that sees obstacles not as walls but as stepping stones. Talent, on its own, can only take you so far. No matter how extraordinary someone's natural ability may be, without confidence, it remains confined to potential, hidden, unused, and unrealized. But confidence is different. It turns even modest skills into powerful tools. It is the great multiplier of human potential, and when cultivated, it makes a person impossible to ignore. Think about it for a moment. Every great achievement in history was not only the result of talent, but of someone's belief in themselves when no one else did. Many of the world's most successful people were not considered the most naturally gifted. In fact, some were overlooked, underestimated, even ridiculed. But they shared one thing in common: unshakable confidence in their ability to grow, to learn, adapt, and to rise again after every setback. That confidence is what transformed their stories from ordinary to extraordinary. Confidence does not guarantee that you will never fall. On the contrary, it guarantees that you will fall, but that you will also get back up. That is the essence of being unstoppable. Not perfection, not flawlessness, but resilience. The confident person that failures is not the end of the road. It is part of the road. They understand that rejection is not a verdict, but a redirection. They know that challenges are not curses, but opportunities to prove how strong they really are. And here is the most important truth: being unstoppable does not mean being fearless. It means acting in spite of fear. Confidence does not erase doubt, but it drowns out the voice that says, "You can't." Instead, it amplifies the voice that says, "Try again. Keep going. You are stronger than this moment." The unstoppable individual is not someone who has never questioned themselves. They are someone who has refused to let those questions dictate their destiny. Confidence also gives birth to momentum. Each time you act boldly, you build a little more trust in yourself. Each time you speak when your voice trembles, or step forward when your legs feel weak, you add another layer to your strength. Slowly, action builds evidence, and evidence builds unshakable faith in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. This is how ordinary people become extraordinary, not through one massive leap, but through small, confident steps repeated over and over until they carve a path no one else dares to walk. What separates the unstoppable from the talented is not raw ability, but persistence. Talent can stop when things get hard. Confidence does not allow you to stop. It whispers, "There is another way. There is another chance. There is another day." And because of that voice, the confident person keeps moving long after the talented have given up. In the long run, consistency born of confidence always outlasts the occasional brilliance of talent. There is power in knowing that you don't need to have every answer, every skill, or every resource. What you need is the certainty that you will find a way. That is what confidence gives you. It equips you with the courage to step into the unknown, the strength to endure setbacks, and the vision to see beyond temporary struggles. It transforms the impossible into the inevitable because it refuses to stop. So if you want to become unstoppable, stop measuring yourself against the talent of others. Instead, measure yourself against your own courage. Ask yourself, am I willing to keep moving forward, even when it's hard? Am I willing to believe in myself, even when others doubt me? Am I willing to get up one more time, no matter how many times I fall? If your answer is yes, then nothing in this world can stop you. Confidence will carry you. Talent alone never could. Confidence is the true foundation of every lasting success. Talent may open the first door, but it is confidence that gives you the courage to walk through it, to stay the course, and to keep moving, even when the path is uncertain. When you reflect on your own life, you will see that the moments that truly changed you were not about raw ability. They were about the choices you made when fear whispered, when doubt lingered, when obstacles stood in your way. Confidence was the quiet force that carried you through those moments, and it will continue to carry you if you choose to nurture it. If it's easy to admire talent, the gifted singer, the natural athlete, the brilliant student, they inspire awe. But how often do we see people with extraordinary talent fade into the background because they never believed in themselves enough to take risks? Confidence is the difference maker. It turns the person of average ability into someone extraordinary because it fuels action, persistence, and resilience. And in the end, the world does not reward hidden potential. It rewards visible effort and consistent courage. Confidence is not about being the loudest in the room or pretending to have all the answers. It is about trust. Trust in yourself, trust in your ability to learn, and trust in the idea that even if you fall, you will rise again. That trust changes how you walk, how you speak, how you face challenges. People are drawn to it because it represents something rare, certainty in an uncertain world. And that certainty will take you farther than talent ever could. Think of confidence as a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Every time you raise your hand, every time you take the stage, every time you apply for the opportunity you think you're not ready for, you strengthen that muscle. Confidence is built in the small choices we make daily, the tiny victories that seem insignificant in the moment, but compound over time into an unshakable belief in ourselves. This is why confidence always beats talent, because it grows, it expands, it multiplies with every action you dare to take. Remember, life is not a straight path. There will be failures. There will be rejections. There will be moments when you doubt yourself and wonder if you should give up. But confidence will remind you that these moments are not the end. They are the middle. They are chapters in your story, not the final page. The difference between those who succeed and those who stop is not brilliance, but endurance. And endurance comes from the courage to keep going when it would be easier to quit. You may never control the level of talent you were born with, but you will always control your confidence. You will always have the choice to speak up, to try again, to move forward. Confidence belongs to everyone, the gifted and the ordinary alike. And it is the one quality that can take a simple person with simple skills and raise them to unimaginable heights. So carry this with you. You do not need to wait until you feel ready. You do not need to compare your gifts with the gifts of others. You only need to choose confidence today, tomorrow, and every day after. Because when you do, no setback will be final, no challenge will be too great, and no dream will remain out of reach. In the end, it is not talent that defines your destiny. It is the unshakable confidence to keep moving, to keep believing, and to keep becoming more than you ever thought possible. Confidence makes you unstoppable. And once you are unstoppable, the world will have no choice but to make room for your greatness.